you were there as I was, as Jerry Briscoe was, as Jim Ross was. And this topic has been talked to death, but the curtain call, the Kliq and the curtain call. And everybody knows my feelings on the whole thing. And as a matter of fact, I asked, and here's another guy we'll talk about at some point, Jerry Jarrett. But I asked Jerry Jarrett when he was on the program, I said, what would you have done, Jerry, as a promoter for 40 whatever years, if you had a couple of guys that you paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to and featured on top and made them stars, and they went out in your biggest building, in your most high-profile market, and exposed the business back before such a thing was fashionable or something that was done? And his response was, it would have been like the day after they shot President Kennedy. We were sad that he was gone, but life had to continue. What were your feelings at the time? I remember Jerry Briscoe throwing some suitcases and briefcases and getting in his car disgusted. What were your feelings at the time on the curtain call? What do you think he should have done? And what was your general overall feelings on the Kliq foolishness?
Well, hell, I was with you. We went out that night with Vince, remember?
Yeah.
No, I was livid that night. I felt it was unprofessional. I felt it was a slap in the face to Vince and his family, who had promoted the Garden for all those years. Yeah, to me, it was just disgraceful. And I thought it was a stupid thing for Sean and Hunter to do, especially because they were staying. For the other guys, I just thought it was kind of an FU to Vince and unnecessary.
Do you believe the story that they've told since then, that they asked Vince if they could do it and he said yes? Or was it one of those deals where they kind of asked something and Vince heard part of it and said, oh yeah, pal, whatever? What do you think?
I'm 100% believe that Sean asked Vince, yes. And I believe that Vince kind of half listened and really didn't understand or have any idea what the hell they were going to do.
Back then, you wouldn't even expect that. That would be like asking, hey, Vince, do you mind if I shoot up to the moon real quick before the main event? You wouldn't expect that question to be asked because nobody did such a thing back then. You didn't expose the business in public. You didn't talk smart in public.
Well, I can guarantee you. Yeah, and I can guarantee you, and Sean has actually said this, Sean didn't ask, hey, can we go out there? Can I kiss Diesel and bring him to life and have him jump up and us hug and kiss? Yeah. And then have Razor and Scott come out and we all hug. And that was never laid out that way. He said that he wanted to do something with his friends after the fact in the ring and just kind of have a one last bow in the ring together. Along those lines. I wasn't there for it, so I don't know what exactly was said, but I've heard Sean's version of it and I've heard Vince's version of it. And that's about the closest when you take those two together and as to what happened. Usually it's somewhere in the middle there. So, Sean asked, can we do something? And Vince was like, yeah, pal, that's fine. Not ever dreaming in a million years that they would go out and do what they did.
You know what a pain in the ass the whole Kliq thing was. Why did Vince put up specifically with Shawn Michaels, but why did he put up with that? Why he's almost proud of being able to work with adversarial relationships and still get the match in the ring, pal. But why did he put up with those fucking adolescent, boys treehouse fucking type of thing from those four fucking, even one of them married his fucking daughter. The fuck?
Well, I think, number one, get the match in the ring. But at the time, it's what we had. It's cards that we were dealt. It's what we had to work with. We were fighting those guys down south with a big checkbook, and that's what we had. So you make it work. I dare say that it was the best that we had to work with and make it work. And Vince did pride himself on being able to take that difficult shit and work through it. I think that he, I don't know if saying get off on it is the right way to phrase it, but I think that he was proud of that fact that he could work with anybody type thing and make it work.
Jeez, oh, Pete. And I remember and of course, Nash and Hall had both had the opportunity to tell him in person at that TV. I think we were out in the Midwest. It was Iowa or somewhere like that. They had the opportunity to tell him in person, and they didn't tell him in person. Instead, Hall went so far as to say, "Oh, I'm with you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be anywhere. Vince, I'm with you all the way. You created me." And then we go back to Connecticut, and 2 days later, the fax, the resignation letter comes by fax over his fax at the house, and he reads it to us, if you remember that.
Yeah, Hall was first.
Yeah. And then I've told his story before. And then Hall wasn't on. Was Hall on that WrestleMania, or did he get suspended for the drug test thing? But it was Nash got paid $150,000 for that last WrestleMania he was on because Vince said, "I don't want him to be able to say I fucked him." I was like, "Fuck me."
Well, remember the thing with Hall at the time was he didn't want to work with Goldust.
That's right. That's why we got Roddy and did the party.
That's why we got Roddy.
Backlot.
And yeah. So that was a big part of it. And did he fail a test too? I
remember he wasn't on that. I don't know whether he had been.
Yeah, he wasn't on it because the whole thing was to build up to Goldust and Razor at Mania. And then, Razor didn't want to work with Goldust.
That's right.
Next.
Well, Roddy was an improvement anyway.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing I've never been able to explain to people who have asked me. The question always comes up, why did Vince, the most powerful guy in the industry, put up more than any other promoter anywhere when he was paying more money and he had bigger towns and bigger TV? He put up with more horse shit from his main event guys than any other promoter in the history of the business. And it's inexplicable to me. It's sort of like the Southern bias. I think he's always had that anti-Southern thing because he has an inferiority complex about the trailer park in North Carolina upbringing. I think is why he's so anti-Southern and just the accents and the dialects. Everybody's got to be a scuffling hillbilly or whatever. But what is it? Just the thought that he can always get the match in the ring and always get the deal made and always somehow come out and prosper from it, that he puts up with so much horse shit to the point where he said that one time, in business, you have to learn to eat shit and like the taste of it. And I'm like, no, I'll just goddamn be on a diet over here. Thank you. But do you think that's it?
Yeah, I do. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, in that case, then I'll just take credit for it.